Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday to you. Gosh, the week has shot past, and somebody might think, well, wow, what's happening with the whole back to school thing, and, already halfway through January, what happened to everything? So we just keep pace and make sure we keep the Lord in our lives. Today is the feast day of St. Anthony the Abbot. That's not St. Anthony who we pray to when we've lost things. St. Anthony was a man who lived in around about the 4th century. And he was a man who gave up everything that most people might hang on to. He just abandoned materialism and moved out basically into the desert and became what people would consider the originator of monastic life, living in a very simple existence and relying on nature to keep himself going and not embracing himself with everything around him. Interestingly enough, what he taught was embraced later on, some 1,000 years later, by St. Francis of Assisi, who also gave up everything and moved out of society because he realized that he had more to benefit from and more could benefit from him by being in a monastic environment. In our gospel today, in Mark's Gospel, chapter 2, we find Jesus curing the paralytic. Now, it's a well-known story, and Jesus cures the paralytic that is brought to him. And people challenge him. The scribes and the Pharisees challenge him. So, how can you cure somebody? He says, well, what shall I do? Must I forgive him his sins? Or must I tell him to get up and walk? He says, otherwise, take up your bed and walk. And of course, they weren't happy with that at all. But we need to understand the definition of sin again. Is if we have damaged our relationship with God, that only God has the authority to forgive those sins. Jesus can forgive sins. And the sin is, even if we go to confession, the priest says the words of absolution, but it is God who's forgiving us our sins. That's why it's important we take our sinfulness to God through the priest. If we have offended God in any way, only God can forgive us. So let us avail ourselves of the opportunity of going to him and saying, I'm sorry, and being forgiven. You have a wonderful day. Keep yourself safe. God bless. Bye-bye.